good to hear that tune again. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Impact Podcast. Now I have to wash my hand. For those watching on YouTube, I've just annihilated a fly that was trying to disturb our content. So I'll be right back. Oh, thanks, guys. The sound effects button's cool. So where were we? It's been a crazy few months, and that's kind of been, 100%, not kind of. It is the reason why we haven't done a podcast in quite some time. It's not for a lack of me not wanting to do them. I've got so many cool ideas. I want to still continue sort of on our entrepreneurship journey that we were on. But for the most part, I had an operation on my foot in the same week that we moved the business out of the house into an industrial warehouse. The business is doing phenomenally well, and I want to thank all you guys for shopping at impactproshop.net. We're inundated with orders. It's amazing, and I can't thank you enough for that. One of the challenges we're having at the moment is the sort of incompetence of, clearing agents and stuff like that. Like this morning, for example, I had a query where we sent an item to, I think it was Australia, and the customs agent was like, this is a regulated item. I said, well, sir, no, it's not a regulated item. We've been sending them to Australia for a year now, and this is the first we've heard of it. So I said, so what's your definition of a regulated item? And then he says, it's a blanket statement. Anything that can attach to a firearm. So therefore, scope rings are regulated items, or a banana and some duct tape is a regulated item. So those are sort of some of the frustrations we've had. In fact, last month, 2 months ago, we sent one of these canvas 2-round holders that you put next to the side of your rifle with double-sided tape, or with Velcro rather. That's the only item in the order, and that was meant to go to the UK. And FedEx blatantly said, this is a regulated, controlled item. We can't deliver this package. So that's sort of the craziness that's happening in the world with regards to firearm stuff. And it really is a case of incompetence, It's frightening because the person dealing with it on that side, he sees, danger, must be dangerous, this thing. So yeah, anyway, it's very frustrating when that is your business. So apologies if your order is a little bit slow, but sometimes we deal with these things behind the scenes, so it is a little bit frustrating. Anyway, on my side of the equation, I'm heading back to the surgeon this afternoon for the first time in 5 weeks now since my last checkup. And hopefully today I should be able to get the final green light to actually bail on the moon boot, and then I'll sort of be in shoes with heel raisers and stuff like that. That's allegedly what the plan is. Now, this healing is going to have to speed up because I've got multiple hunts coming. In the next 3 weeks, my brother and I are going on a hunt up near Oranje. So we've got a far trip. It's going to be about almost a 2,000 kilometer round trip. We're looking forward to making some cool content there. Hopefully we're going to have multiple days of filming. That's the plan at the moment. Sort of one of the days is going to be a springbok hunt where we'll sort of do, again, a harvest hunt. But this time what they've said to us is, listen, Pete, any headshot, we'll buy the animal from you because they need meat for the local sort of butcheries and the stuff, making biltong and things. So for us, for content-wise, that's a really good deal, Then we've also got a monster eland cow that's walking around there on their property, and I'm looking to harvest my first eland. And then if the cards fall in our favor rather, then we're going to do some wing shooting too, which I'm super excited about. And my brother's going to come with. We're going to rock all the new camera gear, so I'm super excited. Then we'll literally be back for a weekend, and then after that we'll head back to Frontier Safaris. Now, I haven't been to Frontier in a while because I had COVID last time around when we were meant to go, so I couldn't do it. So we're going to head back there, and we're going to help them just manage their Impala situation a little bit. So I'm pumped to bring you guys those videos. My brother's also recently gotten super into the first-person drone flying. So hopefully we should have some cinematic first-person drone stuff too, because that is seeming like the flavor of the month. I mean, I'm watching massive Hollywood produced movies. I watched The Grey Man the other day. That's on Netflix. Really enjoyed that. And I even noticed some first-person drone stuff in films like that, which is really cool. New Michael Bay film, Ambulance, filled with first-person drone stuff. So it's really cool to sort of see that technology and perspective, filter into sort of more mainstream content. So I'm cool to see what dynamic it could possibly add to, our productions. Excuse me, guys. It's getting pretty hot in here. I'm going to just bail on my jacket. Then I seriously need to get sort of back into competition mode. I've obviously not been shooting a lot of matches lately because of the leg thing. I've been trying to stay busy, you know, shooting the long range match, shooting the rimfire stuff, but we haven't done any precision rifle stuff for a while. We haven't really traveled for matches. I haven't done an NRL Hunter in my life yet, which I'm super excited for. I think that format will really play to my strengths as somebody that can build positions quickly and engage targets relatively quickly. So I think that'll be really fun. So I'm excited to try one of those. There is one coming up in Cape Town pretty shortly, in a few months. Hopefully I have my guns by then. Today is Thursday. We were meant to get our guns this week, but it's not looking like we're getting our guns this week. So same old story. Anyway, there is movement on that. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, I really need to focus down and get back sort of into the swing of things with regards to precision rifle. I think a lot of you guys found this channel with regards to, you know, either my precision rifle content or my hunting content, and that's the type of content you want to see, and it's the type of content that I enjoy making. So I've kind of put some thought into how I'm going to, you know, because essentially shooting is a very perishable skill. If you do not do it often, it goes away. And I see that when I shot that rimfire match the other day, I was wobble city all over the freaking place. So I need to sort of get that wobble zone down tight again. And I've given some thought as to how I'm going to do that. Initially, when I started shooting, I just did a ton of dry fire. But this time, I actually want to take you guys along that journey as I sort of upskill myself again and sort of relearn stuff. In fact, what I'm actually also going to do, I'm going to watch my own precision rifle training back. Because, you know, I filmed that 2 years ago, and in that time, I haven't shot as much as I did back then. So I think it will even be valuable for me to relearn some of the stuff that I've sort of forgotten along the way. Or, you know, you find it sort of another way to do something, you get a little bit lazy and you get sloppy. And I've even noticed that in some of my shooting videos that I've edited lately. Like, I'm not great on the trigger always. It's pretty much there, but every now and again, there's like a little bit of a dodgy trigger pull or a trigger squeeze for that matter. So that's something I'm super pumped for, to take you guys along on that journey and sort of upskill myself again. Now, on a sort of more personal note, this is sort of like a random ranting podcast, if you will. I just want to fill you guys in on stuff that's happening that I can't necessarily just talk about in other videos, or I would briefly talk about it, but can't really give you a lot of context. This week, a video came out where I sort of went through all of my rifles, and there was a couple of questions on that video. Somebody asked what happened to my Glock 43 that I used to EDC. Now, that license expired somewhere this year, I believe, or was it last year? But anyway, at the point when that license expired, I have other Glocks and I have other, like the Canics now. And I was like, I just don't see the effort to have this still on my name. We also went a little bit overboard with our laser on that Glock. It came out really cool and it looked pretty cool. But at the end of the day, I made the decision to hand that firearm into the police and to just have it destroyed. And the reason I did that, and I wanted to have it destroyed, because unfortunately in South Africa, a whole bunch of firearms, you know, end up in the police's custody and then get stolen. So it's unfortunate when I took in the Glock 43 that, you know, one or two of the parts was actually missing. I disassembled it, and some of the springs and the stuff, you know, shot all over the place. So it wasn't functional when I took it in. I think, I don't know, maybe somebody vacuumed up the springs. So that's what I've done on there. And then somebody also asked me, you know, where's that 22BR you had? I got rid of that rifle a long time ago. It just didn't have the right twist on. It was a nice little rifle, but I wanted to shoot a heavier projectile. And it was more sort of, it was set up for shooting like a 40 grain or a 50 grain, you know, flat base bullet really fast. It was a lacquer rifle, just wasn't right for me. Then guys, on to my next problem. I've got a disease where I like cars a lot. I think it's more a disease of boredom, where I tend to get bored of something really quickly. And I'm 100% blaming my dad on this one, or my stepdad. You know, growing up, he did phenomenally well for himself, and I was used to seeing him buy a new BMW, you know, every year. And I was like, that'll be really cool if I could do something like that one day. Anyway, now fast forward to one day, which is now, and I saw a really cool quote the other day, and I'm going to absolutely butcher it here, but it went something along the lines of, we need to take a step back every now and again to realize that we're at the point in life where we wish to be as kids. You know, as a kid at school, you have no money, you've got no freedom, and now we're sort of in this fun phase of our lives where we get to kind of do what we want to a large extent, you know. So we need to always take stock of that. Anyway, be that as it may, you guys know that I sold my Defender. I had one of the new Land Rover Defenders. It was a wonderful car. The problem there was the car didn't have the right motor. And the way it sort of played out, I wanted one of the Defenders, but I'm very impatient and I didn't want to wait, which is ironic because in South Africa, when you have firearms, you just hurry up and wait because it takes so long to get them. So a mate of mine phoned me and Shane said, listen, there's a guy here who couldn't get a deal on his and he needs to get rid of it, or they need to get rid of it because the sort of deal fell through the mat. And I put up my hand and I said, okay, cool, I'll take this car. And I drove the car for a year. And it was a phenomenal car. I had zero issues with it. And I've owned many new Land Rovers and had zero issues. People love to give Land Rovers nonsense. And your Land Rover jokes were hilarious. So I'm going to give that to any of you that left a Land Rover joke. I find them thoroughly enjoyable. So best Land Rover joke down below is going to get pinned on the YouTube section of this. And so I sold that. And when we did that deal, I also had a Range Rover Sport. And at the time, it was sort of in this phase with COVID and there's no semiconductor chips and, there's no cars available, especially new cars. So a lot of people were looking for cars and were paying way over sticker price. Okay, so way over retail for the actual cars. So when we actually moved both of these vehicles, I lost like no money. In fact, on the one, I made money. So, and that's on the Range Rover Sport, buying it brand new out the box, selling it 3 years later with like 55,000 kilometers on, I made money, which is frightening. So that sort of shows you how that went down. Then, obviously we've got the cars we have currently. I got a Cayenne and my wife had a Mercedes for about 2 weeks, which she hated. Then she got a Panamera Sport Turismo, which is a sick car. And she had that for about 7 months. And I was like, I don't want to do the fancy car thing anymore. So, yeah. Anyway, now I have a Land Cruiser, the old one that Skalk and I bought, that we sold yesterday. So that car's gone too. What happened is initially we wanted to buy 2 old Land Cruisers. Okay, so Skalk wanted like the pickup one and I wanted the, sort of FJ40. Now the FJ40 is essentially like a short wheelbase it's the coolest little thing, and the guys watching on YouTube, I'll show you what they look like. Their values absolutely shot up due to the fact that they're becoming a collectible and the fact that they're very rare to find them in good condition, because the ones that you do find, it's a rust bucket and it's almost not worth that. And the guys are looking for a premium on them because they know how rare they are. So anyway, after my surgery, Skalk drove around in the FJ45, the sort of 2-door pickup one. And then we kind of came to the same conclusion. Like, this is an awesome car. It's beautiful. It sounds amazing. It looks great. The guy who built it, George, did a phenomenal job. But it's just not practical for what we wanted to use it for. And what we did want to use it for is like driving to an extreme steel match and being like, it's like a little cool car. But the reality of the situation is, if you've got a Ford Raptor, you're probably just going to take the Raptor because you're leaving your house at 4 something in the morning and you don't want to get, you don't want to deal with a car that's 35 years old at 6 o'clock in the morning in the middle of nowhere. That is a little bit risky. Now, then the opportunity came. I put it on Facebook Marketplace and we got a really good deal for it. We did spend a bit of money on it and essentially we got all our money back, which is cool. And it was funny because, when we bought it, my wife was like, you guys are wasting money. You're never getting your money back. And I was like, sweetheart, this is very much like buying good guns. We'll definitely get our money back. Anyway, so I had a massive smile on my face yesterday when it left here. And we actually made a little bit of money. So now what? So my wife's taken my Cayenne. She's driving that. Literally at the moment, I have no car, which I was expecting to get my new Land Cruiser this afternoon. Now, when I say new, it's actually older than the one before. Now, how did this all come about? As I said, I wanted to get the FJ40, and this is turning into a Land Cruiser podcast. My goodness. I wanted to get the FJ40, but they're so rare and they're so expensive. And then I watched the Terminal List on Netflix. If you have not watched it, no, excuse me, it's not Netflix, it's on Amazon. I watched that and I saw the Land Cruiser in there and I was like, that's what I want. It's like bigger, it's more practical. So anyway, I found one, a 1984, so it's a year older than the previous old Land Cruiser we had. And this thing's actually like, it's in derelict state. It's not great. It's nowhere near where the one was that we had. And I paid like nothing for it. It was very inexpensive. but it's going to need a lot of elbow grease. It's going to need a lot of love. And I'm excited to do sort of a project with something that is not my thing. And this is something that I've referenced a few times over sort of the journey of building this business and the podcast and the channel and all the stuff that goes with it. You know, one of the dangers is by making your hobby your job, you 100% take the fun out of it. And that's where I've sort of found myself, you know, with shooting. Because shooting is essentially my job. Yes, we have other businesses, but everything we do involves, you know, making stuff for guns or gun stuff or whatever. So I'm like consumed by that world. All my client queries are about guns, and I love it because I still have a passion for firearms and I have a passion for learning. But it sort of takes the fun little element, the release. Let's put it that. It's still fun, but it takes that sort of stress relief, you know, away that you would normally get. You know, I go to a match, and for me, it's a day at work. I'm taking my cameras. I need to make sure I get this shot, that needs to be in focus. I need drone footage of this. So I'm always sort of thinking along that line, and I don't get to just like relax and shoot my rifles with my mates and, you know, muck around. And I still muck around a little bit, but it is still a job. So about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, I decided, let me get back into motocross, you know, because that could be my thing. That's not my thing. Now, if you've been with the channel for longer than a year and a half, you know how that turned out for me, not great. And in fact, because of that crash, where I've still got like 12 pins or something in my wrist of the plate, my grip strength is not the same in both hands. And with my recent sort of fitness journey, I've actually developed a problem in my elbow that I've been going to the physio for multiple times a week, and it's costing a crap load of money at the moment. But essentially, I've started tearing off the tendon of my elbow from training because my grip strength's not strong enough, so I'm like compensating with other muscles. So for the last 2 weeks, I've done zero trainings trying to rest that up, and it's been very frustrating. So full circle to the Land Cruiser. The FJ60, I'm excited to learn more stuff about it, you know, get my hands dirty a bit, figure out how these things work. Because even though I grew up on the farm and I was a plaaskind, as we would say in Afrikaans, a farm boy, and it's going to be our Afrikaans word of the day, plaaskind, I never really like learned how the mechanical side of the stuff works because my parents got divorced when I was very young and I moved and lived with my mom. So I very much grew up on the farm, learned to walk essentially, and then ducked to the city. So that's why I found like the rifles and the stuff so cool, is because we get to like work with our hands, and it's, you know, it's practical kind of stuff, and it's interesting, and you can always learn new things. So I'm really excited to go down this rabbit hole with the Land Cruiser. My wife is still convinced that I will sell it in 3 months. Maybe she's right. For the right price, anything can be sold. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so I thought I'd loop you guys in. I actually have to wrap this up because I have to get in an Uber to go see my surgeon and hopefully get out of my moon boot, which I'm super, super excited for. And then I'm going to sort of slowly get back to training. And, you know, it's been very frustrating not being able to be physically active the last couple of weeks. It's incredibly frustrating for me. You know, I used to run a lot. I used to lift every single day. And, yeah, it's frustrating. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the Land Cruiser. I will have showed you a clip along the way of what it's going to look like or what it currently looks like. But there is a lot of stuff that needs to be changed. The interior is wrecked. Pretty sure a homeless man has slept in there. Yeah, the tires need replacing. The roof rack needs replacing. The winch is destroyed. My number one thing I want to do is just make sure that it's reliable. The motor starts, do the brakes, all the safety sort of stuff first, you know, put LED headlights in just so that I can, like, you know, that it's as safe. And that's car is going to be sort of a tide over until I do get the Raptor that we've spoken about quite a while ago. So I have ordered one of those new V6 Raptors because it's a V6 Raptor. Anyway, on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. The guys supporting Impact Pro Shop, thank you so much. MDT, you guys rock. This is a podcast, but MDT still rocks. So if you're looking for precision rifle stuff, but you clicked on this because we spoke about Land Cruisers, head on over to mdttech.com to shop for your next precision rifle chassis or hunting chassis or whatever you need. Scope rings, the whole shebang. They got you covered. Okay, gents and ladies and Land Cruiser lovers, I look forward to reading your Defender jokes. Bye.